Hello. It's come to my attention that Netflix has resurrected Beverly Hills Cop. And I'll tell you, I'm kind of glad. It's good to be reminded how good we had it in the 80s. I mean, Eddie Murphy was all over the place in the 80s. He was a funny dude. Everything he did was funny. The HBO special he did, we'd never seen anything like. Well, Richard Pryor was an older, frumpier version. He got explicit, but Eddie Murphy was young and, flashy. Everybody enjoyed him. Movies had a lot more appeal to me back then. They were more emotion driven. I'll just say it, the action movies of the 80s rocked. Anybody that says they didn't, I don't know what to tell you. They were great. You look at them now based on the special effects everybody has now, things of that nature, and you think, oh, that's cheesy, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you something. If that movie was made tomorrow and new computer animated stuff, CGI effects were put in there, and they made it look more realistic, they could be just as big a hits today. I know that, you know that, we all know that. Everybody wants to get upset about something about this and upset about something that, but what they really want to do is sit back and watch an action movie. You probably have a beer. I don't drink beer, but I know a lot of people do. That's it. They're entertaining. You don't have to think about them real hard. It takes your mind off of the grueling numbness that it was your day, having to run on that rat wheel somewhere. I mean, we all run on it somewhere. But it was good to be able to come in and just relax and put your mind on coast. There's a lot of things about the 80s that was awesome. I'll tell you one awesome thing about the 80s that you never hear anybody talk about anymore. It was called Civics class. Yeah, that's what they called it, Civics class. And you went in there and you learned about our Constitution and the laws and, just basically the rules of government. That we were taught that. I remember mock trials. We had a mock trial when I was in my civics class. And I was the defending attorney. I got my client off because I was able to convince a juror to vote not guilty. Back then, that was considered an acquittal if you got a hung jury. It's just in recent years that they've decided that they can keep having trials on people until they get a conviction. In the 80s, the Menendez brothers killed their parents. They alleged that their dad, who was a big record executive, was molesting them. And that the mother was a party to it, that she allowed it and condoned it, basically. And they said that they had to kill them to stop the trouble. They tried them boys 5 times. 5 times. 4 times they couldn't get a conviction. On the 5th time they did. Anywhere you look in the Constitution, that's considered double jeopardy. A person's not supposed to be able to put in jeopardy of their life or freedom more than once for the same thing. There's a lot of things changed about the legal system in the courts since the 80s. It was one thing that hadn't changed is that presidents and vice presidents, some federal officers have immunity. That was always understood. So that a president could rule without fear or favor. If he could be charged with a crime or sued every time he did something, he'd never get anything done. So there was a process put in place for that. It's called impeachment. And when a president did something to break the law, they used the House of Representatives, sort of like a grand jury, and they decide whether or not the president, in their opinion, has broken the law and committed a high crime or misdemeanor. And then they write down all the ones they think that he's broke and why they think he's broke them, and they walk it over to the Senate and they file it. Those are called articles of impeachment. Then that man has a trial, or one, eventually, in the Senate to find out, do we agree that this person's committed a crime? They function like the jury. And usually they bring in the Supreme Court justice, the head justice, or Chief Justice they call him, and to oversee the proceedings. We got to see it twice in Donald Trump's administration when they went after him. It's real simple. They either convict you there or they don't. And if they convict you there, they get to decide if you face the penalty for it. They, it's nothing new. They started impeachment on Nixon. He resigned. They started impeachment on Bill Clinton, and he fought it and lost. He was found guilty. They just didn't give him any sentence. They didn't sentence him to any, they didn't remove him from office or give him a sentence. We've always known that presidents were immune. And the only time that's ever come into question was with Donald Trump. They decided that all the people that worked for him didn't have executive privilege. I mean, why do you think that Eric Holder wasn't prosecuted for contempt of Congress back during Benghazi when he refused to speak it, when he was subpoenaed, he refused to give records? It's because he had executive privilege, and we knew it. And they weren't prepared to impeach him. All they did was uphold the law, and the reason they upheld the law was because they had to. If they didn't, as soon as a Republican got an arrow, that really was a conservative, they would just go back and have Obama arrested and Bill Clinton, have them charged with murder. Anything they want to have them charged with. Because once you open that door, everybody can use it. The Democrats are just as glad that the Supreme Court heard that case and gave the verdict that they did. They're just as happy about it as the Republicans are. Because nobody wants to see that. Frankly, I don't think that it was ever going to get to that. They know that anything that they get him for is going to be overturned on appeal. This was a political move. But you know what? It's simple as this. Occasionally, everything shakes out in our favor. The law cuts both ways. I would like to see more of it in this country, and for people to learn more about what our rights and responsibilities are as citizens of this country. We have a responsibility to go serve on juries, to go vote, to hold public office. And not enough people are doing it. I mean, if you look into who's sitting on your city council or your mayor or whatever, I guarantee you're going to be shocked at how few votes they got to get that position. Sometimes it ain't no more than 100. There's been even one that I know of in particular where it was less than 20. Less than 20 people voted. The person that won by a majority, but there was only like 20 people voted. People don't take care of their civic responsibilities enough. And when you leave things like that to people that are the least qualified, you're going to get bad results. You've got to have competent people stepping up and doing their civic duty. And I really hope this movie's good, because I haven't watched it yet, but I'm about to. Thanks. Y'all have a good day.